Hello folks off YouTube, my name's Ian and welcome to my channel and ROI Part 2. Now that doesn't stand for the return of Ian, it stands for return of investment, ROI, investment in time, money or effort. Last but one video I showed you I'm in tentative negotiations, if that's the word, of putting my hands on quite a few number of these high bay lamps. A lot of factories, premises, buildings are now taking these out because they take a lot of energy to run. Energy in the UK has shot through the roof and it ain't gonna come down. So they're moving over to LEDs. Here's a little clip of what I'm possibly going to get. Yeah, that's a sight for sore eyes. There, these. And of course, this is only the small warehouse. And the big warehouse is 3 times the size of this. So, how many of them are there going to be? Just trying to say, you just can't even trying to count how many lights go all the way down there. And there's 1, 2, oh, it goes well, way over there. So anyway, you've seen that. You see I've access to probably a lot of them. So there's the time, there's the effort, maybe there's the expense. The fact is I've only got that estate car. How many of those can I fit in the back in one go? Yeah, probably say, well, these 2 screws, 3 screws. It's a posh one, 4 screws. The ones I've ever done before only about 2 screws near the centre. So 4 screws at one screw, and those will interstack. So I'm going to say, it's hard to say, 8 of those stacked, 2 across, gives me 16, and possibly 16 boxes in the back of the car. Right, I'm going to do that because if there's hundreds of them, and I'm told there's 88 in that first clip I showed you, didn't count them. I could actually put it on pause and count them. That means there's going to be quite a few. If they want them gone all in one go, that creates me a problem. As you know, I've only got an estate car. Right, let's get into the return of investment. So first of all, I've got the lamp. I'll unscrew the lamp after this because that won't count in any calculations that's going to happen. There is that little bit of brass or copper, depends. I'm going to pull that to one side. Right, basically we've got 3 components. We've got the lamp, we've got the housing, and we'll have the transformer or choke inside. I've 2 choices. First one is just weigh the aluminium in and weigh the box in. So how much does it weigh overall? I'll tell you what, let's put a screwdriver and take the top off first. We're in kilograms. 800 grams. Do you know, I nearly said 750. So 800 grams for one of those. So we're in pounds. I could put it all in the middle. 1.6 pounds. Okay, on the bench we'll start writing the figures down. 1 box held together by thumb screw. Took that off. It's held up on the roof with chains. That's going to be a variable. There should be two. There's only one. Simple's enough. We've got our bit of singles cables, bit of cable, cord, but I'll strip that. We won't bother about it being household because it'll all be singles. We've got a capacitor, plastic, an igniter. We'll smash them open and see what's inside. And of course we've got a big heavy choke or a ballast. We'll split that open and see if it's potted inside. That being covered in a big thick black tarry stuff, almost impossible to break open, or whether it's easily strippable to get at the windings, copper windings, hopefully copper windings. If not, might even be Chinesium. That will be a blow, but make the job easier about deciding how we're going to weigh in. Chinesium going straight in as a transformer. Get the cable copper out. It'll go in as number 2 copper, and that's about it. Right, there's not much to this, is there? 1, 2, 3, 4 screws holding that to a base plate. 1, 2, 3 screws holding the base plate to the body. We'll take all that apart. We'll weigh the tin shred, put price down, and we'll have a talk about the figures. I'll strip that. It's just like that, stripped. So we took the ballast out, or transformer, the choke, whatever you want to call it. We took the igniter out. We've taken the capacitor out, which is a 30 microfarad capacitor. Right, I will point out, before I started delving in, I did short it out. I know it's been out, not lit for a while, but that could give you a fur belt 30 microfarads. We started to collect all the cable together. We got the house up. Like I said, I'm not that tiny length. I'm not going to weigh in as a cord. I may as well just brute force and ignorance rip it out into singles. It's going to take up less space and I'll get more money for it. Yes, I will get more money for it. So we'll carry on dissecting these till the point. Right, we took the lamp holder out of the ceramic fitting, simples with just a couple of Torx screws. All the screws and nut ferrous have gone into the shred. So the bottom contacts there, outer contacts there. That's either nickel coated copper or brass. I've always found myself in the past that when it's got this steel ringing like that, they tend to be copper. But we know when we get the copper tester on it. That bit's iron anyway. Okay, I've not started to strip this yet because we have a decision to make. Got another weight. I can weigh that in as a complete unit, get small motors price. But I'm starting to strip it. I could, I guess, but it's cheeky, a bit cheeky, leave it fixed to this and still weigh it in as a small motors. Because it's going to weigh more than that, not a lot, but we'll see. Let me tidy up a bit, get a weight figure for that and a weight figure for that, and we'll weigh the smaller bits in at the end. The lamp, well, it was already busted I have, over the top of the recycle bin, knocked the lamp off. Now be careful, because these are going to hold mercury vapour or sodium vapour, and you don't want to be breathing that stuff in. The framework inside is non-magnetic, so stainless or an exotic material like tungsten, I don't really know, but it's non-ferrous. And again, the base is going to be either nickel, copper or brass and whatnot. Let's crack on, see you in a minute. Right, the capacitor, we've knocked the end off, we've pushed it out, and that's aluminium foil wrapped round on some very thin plastic. Can I get away with putting that in with my aluminium? Is it worth it? Well, one on its own, not. Well, suppose I've got 200 of these. We'll weigh it anyway. The wire that came off the capacitor is stiff single core wire, so that we will strip, because it's a doddle to do. You don't need a wire stripper for that, just a knife. You don't need a knife because it's solid core. You can actually just take a hammer and tap it along to get it out. Tap it too hard and of course you'll break it. So, because all these little bits, if there's hundreds of these, is going to mount up. Right, get rid of the rubbish. What's inside this igniter? Well, I've got an aluminium. No, it's not. It's ferrous. It's iron. So we've got a stud there. What's inside this? I could do with a shirt, but it's going to get me in. Right. Got some circuitry. What's your fingers in? Something cool off that way. Right, so not much of real value there. Bit of circuitry. I've got the glint of a copper coil. So could, I think, possibly speak to Robert at the yard and see if he'll take that as a small motor. There's a lot of banging though, forget that. Oh. The neighbours love me. Right. I can see some brass contacts. So we've got some brass in there we're going to have to get out. There we go. Those screws are going to be ferrous. And that's going to be a bit of brass. Right. Tidy up, do some weighing. A little bit of a tidy up. The shell weighed 2.7 kilograms. The transformer 4.3 kilograms, or 9.6 pounds. How's it constructed? I think we've got thin sheet steel wrapped around a core, like a base plate. You can see it's crimped over there. Sometimes they're spot welded, which makes it a little bit difficult, but this one isn't. There's little tabs there that hold the end plates on, so I think that's just a matter of stick it in the vise, crank it down a little, get a chisel, get an hammer. That's easy enough. Like you say, that's we'll put that back, we'll flatten it again. That can go in there, we'll weigh that again later. Right, get the ends off. See, the ends are aluminium. Put that with a pile. Simple's enough, I think. So the top comes off, the top comes off like that, that falls over like that, into the plastic bits off the ends. Put that up my vice a bit. Wrong way, Ian. Wrong way. Open the vice a bit. That way. Rest the coils on the top of the vice and bash the middle out. Iron, go in the iron tub. I'll carry on bashing the middles out. I'm being a bit more delicate because drop up, bend down and pick them up. Iron goes in there. Trim off some of this crappy stuff at the end, the brass bits at the end. Get rid of the paper coating. By its weight, I can tell you now that's copper. So that's going to be number 2 copper, because it's windings. You don't have to go to a great deal of trouble to get the paper off, just, you know, visually. Well, there we go. Let's do some tidying up and some more weightings. Okie doke. 6.1 kilograms of shred. So, and there we go, before you know it, job's a good one. And yes, I did strip the chocolate box to get the brass connectors out. How? You just unscrew that to the top, and then you take your pincers, your snips for my pincers, and then you just pull the top one off like that and it falls out. Why not? What have we got? Alright, we're going to switch over to the more accurate scales from inside the house. Better not get them dirty. To that, what did we get? Well, we got the shred, we got the aluminium bowl, we got the aluminium ends, we've got the capacitor innards. I don't know, I'll have to speak to the yard about them. Right, that turned out to be stainless steel. Got red sparks when you applied the grinder, but non-magnetic. We got number 2 copper. These did turn out to be copper, as I thought they would be. There we go, we can see the glint of the red stuff there. That will go in as my number 2 as well. I did strip all, get the brass bits. I got a little bit of bright and a little bit of singles. I could, if I wanted to, strip all that down to copper, but nah. But let's get the weighing done. Right, I want to know how much copper is coming out of one of these. So we're on 0. We'll put that on its own first. Unstable, a bit like me really. Okay, bang that on there. 928. Slide it over a bit, put all that there on. So it would all have to go in the same tub. 987. That's a shame. Almost a kilogram. That was if I put the bit of bright on. Hardly anything. 990. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to call that a kilogram. 54 grams of singles. Is it really worth putting this stainless on? 17. Don't forget, we've got 100 of them. That's 1.7 kilograms. 200, it's going to be 3 kilograms. It's going to be £1 a kilo. It's £3. I don't know. Let's write things down. Okay, got all the weights down. Slight revision because that turned out to be brass. This was the lamp holder, and well, that was the lamp holder. The lamp holder was copper. The base of the lamp was brass. I didn't feel happy. It looked like it, but when I put the grinder on, definitely brass. So that weighed 10 grams on its own. So we've adjusted the figures. Right, when I was at the yard last week, I got Ellie. So that was only 3 days ago. Only 3 days ago, I got Ellie to write down the prices for what I thought I'd need. And I got to stress, those were only the prices last Friday. They'll be different today, they'll be different tomorrow, they'll be higher on Thursday, then they'll drop down again on Friday. Prices always drop down on Fridays. Everybody weighs in at the end of the week. They're not daft, these people. There'll be moments for you, there'll be hours of torturous math for me. But I'll get the results as to what it's going to be worth. Ballpark figure, £5, 5 English pounds per. Well, bollocks that up straight away now, because number 2 is 6,100. And if I had a kilogram, that would be £6 10p. I've got just less than a kilogram. I'm going to call it £6, maybe £5.90. So I've already got £5.90 just in the number 2 copper. So let's revise that up a bit to about £7 for each one of those that I strip. But I'll work it out because I need to multiply it by 10 by 100. See you in a bit. Right, well, we've done some torturous math. All you people in America, okay. We're on the metric system. Kilograms. Okay, so there is 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram, and there is 1,000 kilograms in 1 ton, metric ton. So it's quite simple. You get a figure, 6,100 for number 2. You divide it by 1,000, will give you per kilogram. Divide it by 1,000, will give you per gram, multiplied by the amount of grams you've got will give you your figure. Hopefully, if I just take the shroud off the body, take it in, and he gives me small motors price, which I think was £450, and I'll get £4.28. It gets a bit complicated now. If I take the box apart and just weigh in the small motor on its own, the shred side increases, the aluminium stays the same, I end up with less. That's because there I was getting £450 a tonne for, well, basically a lot of shred. I don't think he'd take all the body as small motors, so that's probably more realistic, taking that in without stripping it. But if I fully strip it, I do all the math, you get 86p of aluminium, shred £1.22, number 2 wire £5.98, or probably not 14 pence off for the starter. It had that little coil in it, and I had to smash to bits. Well, that was 23 grams, 14 pence on its own. But I'm more likely I can throw that in as small motors. That increases that a little. Well, by the by, we're only talking 14p. Stainless steel was 2p. Single cables, 20p. Or I could strip it down further and probably get 28p. Bright wire, brass 12p. If I strip it down, £8.40 per light. Now, you could say that took me 10 minutes. I'd get that down a lot faster, and I'd find a different ways, more efficient ways to break up the ballast to get into it. I probably wouldn't do the brass. I don't know. Would I do the brass? All those little chocolate blocks just for that amount of money? Probably not. Right, I've got 10 of them though. Well, we start increasing, don't we though? No, which is basically £84 for 10 of them. Get 100 of them. I know there's more than 100. You're talking £840. Ooh, we're getting some nice money there now, aren't we? If there's 200, you're talking 1,680 quid. If there's 264, £263. I've already done one. Multiplied by 40. Ooh, £2,220 at those prices. But 264 multiplied by, I can't just do this, if there was all in a line on the floor as Project FL man does, then it'd be that multiplied by 10 minutes each, allowing for tidying up and stuff, equals that divided by 60 minutes in an hour, because I've just got minutes there, haven't I? Divided by 60 minutes is 44 hours, a full week's work. 44 hours. Still, 44 hours to give you a £2,000 payout, £2,500 payout, is not shabby. Unless, of course, I've done my math all wrong, and that's 440 hours. I've got what I need to know. If I don't break it down to its micro scrappiness, then, which I will because I'm me, then going off those prices, then, which are a little low, to be honest, they're a little low. So, you know, that's 640s for motors. They probably only get 450 for small motors. I've got my figures.